Well, hello everyone. You are in for a treat right now. It is 10 a.m. here on the west coast of the United States. And here for this 2v2 special showcase match are two Imposter Kings fanatics, one of whom is so fanatical he actually made the game. It didn't exist, and he's such a big fan of the game that he had to bring it into existence, and that would be our good friend Sinbu. Morning, Sinbu. Ready for some 2v2 showcase action?
I sure am, and wow, you make it sound like I'm some sort of prophet. We all had this in mind, and then all of a sudden I was just the one who wrote it down. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I mean, 2v2 is probably one of my favorite versions of the game. It's modeled after Bridge somewhat, which usually has some nice, good 2v2 interactions. So, anywho, yeah, just excited. We have some really good candidates. Player here. We've got Goose and Yeti brothers, and this is a biblical match where they're pitted against each other. Goose picking up Johnny Go, and Yeti obviously playing with our very own Dr. Wayne, resident doctor. So we are going right into this match. I think it's going to be a doozy. For those of you who've never played the 4-player game before, Goose and Johnny Go are on a team. And now what that means is that if one of them loses, they both lose. And so before the game starts, there's quite a lot of card information sharing and mixing up the cards. There's also more cards than the 2-player game. So if you find a couple of unfamiliar cards, that's because in the 4-player game, there's a couple of other extra cards that help you, win the throne with your partner.
That's right. We'll call out those special cards as they emerge. Some wonderful art on those, as is true for all the cards in Imposter Kings. And it should be interesting. Again, the 2v2 game is somewhat of a different beast from the normal heads-up 2-player game. Again, you have the bridge element of 2 teams of 2. And then there's the information sharing, because you don't necessarily know what's in your partner's hand. You have some hints as to what they might have. And so a large part of the game is trying to set your partner up for success just as much as yourself. So some extra wrinkles there.
Yeah, and there's a lot of cards that in the 2-player version, when you're playing just 2 players, you're like, okay, this just helps me force a card out of a player's hand. In 4-player, you might accidentally pull one of your teammates' cards, maybe one that they didn't want to play at that time. For example, if you use the Inquisitor, if you're not paying attention to what your teammate has. So it's just really interesting because you have to pay attention to your own hand and your teammate's hand, and it's a bit of a doozy. There's a couple of special rules that I'll mention when we get to them, and some hints that they can use to communicate with one another. But yeah, so without further ado, I think we should go ahead and get started. What do you think, Dan?
I think that's a terrific idea, Sinbu. All right, let's go ahead and step into Imposter King Stadium. Hi all, it's been a little while, and there we are with our 4 combatants and 2 teams of 2. So it's going to be Goose and Johnny Go. Goose is on the bottom of your screen, Johnny Go on the top, Dr. Ween to your right, and our good friend Yeti on our left. And yes, if you're wondering why we're looking from Goose's perspective, Goose is the reigning champion of Imposter Kings, having won split 1 of the first season of the Imposter Kings League. All right, Cena, shall we ask them to begin?
All right, let's do it. I am just informing the players know that we are ready to go, and we should be able to hear them pretty soon. Whoa.
All right.
All right.
Hands are dealt, and again, 4 hands to inspect this time around.
Well, let's walk. Maybe we can walk through each step, right?
So the step that they're referring to, obviously, is our
just to
4-player setup.
articulate, what's going on. So we have our 4-player deck. We have the kings face up. We've dealt 7 cards to each player, and then we have our accused card. So now we gotta reveal our 3 cards from hand, right? And then we flip at the same time. So flip face down.
So right now what the players are doing is that they're putting 3 cards face down in front of them. This is information that they'll share with their partner and with everyone else. So they're revealing information about their hand in order to share with their partner, but also they're able to trade it with their partner at one point. So now that they've all placed their cards down.
1, 2.
That's right. It's a little bit like Hold'em in that sense, where you play with part of the hand face up.
Then face.
Now they all place one card face down that they can share with their partner. So this is info
face
that
down,
they
and
can
then
share with their partner.
See our allies card.
So we've got an Assassin Fool for Johnny Go and Goose. We've got Assassin Fool for...
No.
They're sharing the exact same cards.
True King.
Kind of funny.
Who is True King?
That's right. One thing to note is that not only are there
Right,
new cards
so,
in the 2v2
you
game,
get to
but
decide.
also some
The
cards of which there are
first
only
player
one
has
in the
direction.
two-player game, there are now duplicates. You see that with both the Assassin and the Fool. There are two of both lurking around in this.
All right, so whoever's the True King decides who goes first and which direction they go. So Goose is going first. The True King, I believe, was Johnny Go, so he has his partner going first, and they're going to be playing clockwise. So in that order, Goose now gets to choose one of these 4 cards to take from his teammate. What do you think he's going to take here, Dan?
Ah, that's a good question.
Probably
You know,
gonna take
look,
Inquisitor. Yeah, there it goes.
makes sense with
That's a
him
lot of
going
information.
first. He didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to want to
Exactly.
open with that. Yep.
Yep. So now it's Yeti's turn, who's going to be able to choose from a Fool, Zealot, Warlord, or Herald. Herald is one of those new cards. It allows you essentially to swap out your successor and do some trickery as long as you have a successor. So Herald does a great job of hiding your assassin. I'm surprised he didn't actually take it because he has the assassin. Maybe he thinks his teammate's going to take the assassin. Now Johnny Go is taking the Elder from Goose. And then Dr. Wayne's going to just take a Soldier. You know, a mild pickup there. He didn't pick up the Assassin. I would have picked up the Assassin if I have the Herald. The Herald's really good because it can swap out your successor card. So now that they've gotten those cards swapped and they've seen what each other have, they have the ability, so they're putting down their successor just like the normal game. After both teammates have put down their successor, they can look at their teammate's successor, and then they could trade up to 2 more cards. So here's what's going to happen here. So it looks like they're doing that now.
That's right. And part of the interesting dynamic of trading cards is that also shares more information as well, because you know your partner is going to have the card you trade them, and they are going to have the card they traded you. So it's a good way of adding information, but also you may not want to part with those cards, or you might stick your partner with a card they might not want. So it's information versus balance.
So it looks like Warlord, Zealot for Yeti and Dr. Ween, respectively, and then Zealot and Assassin. So only Goose is hiding his Assassin. You know your partner has. Now they're deciding, you know, whether they want to trade cards or not. They could trade up to 2 cards tacitly. They can't say, you know, what cards they are, what cards they need. They just need to put it out and make a tacit agreement here if they want to trade. And it looks like for Johnny Go and Goose, they both have pretty strong hands, like, you know, the 6-1 trade, etc. Looks like they're trading some small cards to maybe just give information. You know, an Elder swap usually tells your teammate, hey, I have a queen, because Johnny Go has not shown that queen yet. On the other side, we have quite a lot of 8s over here, and if anything, Dr. Ween probably wants some help. So he's passing over the Soldier again, even though he took it from Yeti. And it looks like he's giving over the, was that the Executioner, I think?
That's right.
So it looks like we're ready to play. So let's go ahead and see what the players are saying here.
All right, now you may
Now
know.
they're too dim. All right, so now they're playing their first cards.
All right, now they're all burning, so you might notice the 4 darkened slots around the face-up burn cards. Each one is now burning the 1 card they will not use over the course of the hand. And it will be, I believe Goose is going first, is that correct?
Yep, so an Elder, a Soldier, an Inquisitor, and a Herald. So he killed the Herald.
Leading with the Judge, not the Inquisitor.
Okay.
Wow.
So Dr. Ween traded that card back to Yeti, and it looks like it's a good effect because now the Judge is no longer in play.
And that was meant to be a safe pick, and it wasn't.
If anyone has an assassin, any of his opponents, and neither of them do.
Aha!
Looks like they've already started tricking each other quite successfully here.
Fascinating then that he would have chucked, as he did, successoring the assassin. Talking about Dr. Ween, of course.
Looks like he's already flipping his king here. That is a fast king flip. So he just used his turn to flip his king, disgracing the card on the throne. Now Dr. Ween can play on any card. He could play the fool right here and just get card advantage. We'll see what he does here.
I'm going to place my
Makes sense. Card advantage.
request if anybody has. Sorry, let me reread this. Opponents. Guess a card name in an opponent's hand. You're correct. Okay. So I will ask Johnny Go if you in fact have an assassin.
For the assassin.
Assassin. The last one's over here. So it's
Okay. Good.
Some
yeah.
information
It's,
extracted. Again, card advantage less of a big deal in the 4-player game because you might get card advantage, but your partner doesn't have it. But yes, interesting. Everyone trying to root out the assassins. No one having much success.
And we know that one is in Yeti. One's in Yeti's hand and one is the successor for Goose. He's now playing the Warden. The Warden is a 7, and if you have 4 or more face-up cards, including itself in the court, he's able to exchange a card with the accused card, which is also a Warden. But since there's only 3 cards, he couldn't do it, so it's just the 7. He's playing the Spy. He's playing as just an 8. You may disgrace this card after playing it to look at all successors. So if he wanted to, he could have made this a 1 to look at everyone's successor. He chose to just use it as a powerful 8. He's playing that as just an 8. He's trying to squeeze Johnny Go because he knows that Johnny Go doesn't have a king flip anymore. So he's going for a quick win there.
There's the queen. So the big 9 now. Dr. Ween has 2 options here. He can either go for his Oathbound, which would thus diminish the power of his fool, or the king flip.
Did you notice that Yeti had an assassin but didn't use it on Johnny Go?
Oh my, you're right.
I think he's holding on to see if he can suss out the 8s first.
Yeah, which
Right
is
now, this is powerful. If he had an Elder, they could have maybe executed it, but it's, not something you can do right now because the Executioner only works on number. Oh, sorry. Let me just go ahead and see what he's going to do here.
So he went for the Oathbound.
Oh, he could do Oathbound Mystic into 8s.
Follow with my Executioner, requesting
Is he going to play here?
number 2.
Boy,
Ooh.
interesting. Again, he's hurting his own teammate there.
So he got to choose a number equal or less than the highest base value of court,
Oh my.
which is a 4 or lower, and then all players must condemn that card, which means get rid of it from their hand. They skip their turn. He said the number 2. Only his teammate had the number 2, which means that now Tater lost his assassin.
And
So.
I'm gonna say the king's hand.
Oh, interesting. And then also, same wise, it looks like Goose is pulling out his own teammate's king's hand.
That's
I
right.
think.
Well, curious. Yeah, again, they both had king's hands, which is the reason why the assassination happened earlier.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
they're-
affects everyone.
Really whacking their
own
partners
teammates.
here. Yeah, two successive plays that hurt their teammate and left the other players unmolested.
Maybe scratching their head. All right.
I will now flip my.
So now he condemned his card. He played his king's hand because he had to, and now it looks like Dr. Ween had to flip his king. It's up to Goose, who
I
has.
will now flip my
Oh,
king.
looks like he's flipping his king as well, trying to maybe bait out his brother to flip his king. Now he has the assassin in hand, and it's very powerful. So as long as Johnny Go doesn't accidentally execute his own teammate's assassin, this could be pretty dangerous. So he's looking at his successor, which is of course the Zealot. He's now thinking about it. He's like, okay, there's an assassin potential. He knows his brother. He's gonna play a big card.
Pushing the
See if he can-
numbers. Yep.
He's been trying to push the numbers on Johnny Go ever since he flipped early. He's trying to punish him for that.
So Johnny Go could either zealot it or go for the 6-1 combo. Nothing too exciting to pick up, although he could get that executioner to try to root out the 2s again at this point.
Yeah, and
I don't know. I think I'm wild here.
he's got to do a mystic play to save his teammate. But it's not gonna stop. He's not gonna stop. He's got to stop the 8s, I guess. Like that's the only thing. There's only one 8 left, which is that king's hand in Goose's hand.
So I'm going to play Mystic. and I have two options here.
You can either kill the 2s as well. This is tough.
This is tense. All right, I'm just gonna go for it. I'm going to use Mystic, and I'm going to call out King's Hand.
There we go. All right,
Alright.
wax the 2s.
I'm going to King's Hand.
And good
Ah.
use of the king's hand. So
Okay.
those get
This
condemned.
So the process is a little tricky, right? Mine gets immediately.
Correct. Yep.
Yes, and that's your turn, and then his
Yeah.
gets kicked up, so
Yep.
that's his turn.
And now it's
Yeah.
Tater's
Okay.
turn to be able to play. Actually, that's the wrong move by Goose, I think, because he could have used that princess swap to insta-kill. Oh, I guess never mind. He didn't have enough cards in his hand.
That's right.
Oh no, he could have. He could have.
Play.
I'll talk about it after.
So
now he
Yeti
can
survives. But
And give me 10 seconds to think about this.
So while he's thinking about it, I think with the 9-8-2, what he could have done is after he played the Mystic to kill the
I'm gonna
2s,
say the number 3.
he could have just played the 8 and would have won. Oh no, never mind. He could have then just flipped. I guess. Never mind.
No 3?
Okay, so he's killing the number 3. No one's
to
got
no
a 3.
effect.
Yep.
Which, you know, is information that's
If
useful.
my math is that right? I don't think we win this round. I play forward.
Here comes the princess.
And then there's the king
Choose
flip.
not just one.
And there's the execution.
Yep.
A little bit of a misplay on both sides there with each of their
So,
players' hands.
Yeah, to be
Hear what they say
perfectly
for a
honest,
second.
I think I fished too hard for the 2s, and I think, and we didn't. Basically, the patience on flipping your king then was solid, and I essentially set it up so that you would guarantee getting your assassin without getting assassin yourself. So that was solid.
That was that was unfortunate. I knew as the second you said 2 with the first execution, I was like, oh no.
my gambit was right. Like I had Johnny go flipped early, and which is why I used Judge to check if there was assassin, right? And then I was like, all right, well, the only other way that I can check it would be executioner. And so the moment that happened, I was basically trying to figure out a way where I could return back executioner to my hand with Fool, because I had Fool in my hand. But I had also dumped Oathbound too early because I couldn't get anything out with Fool.
So there's a couple things there. I mean, you're gonna see a lot of times. So this is the first time, actually, I played demo matches with both teams just to get them prepped for this, and both teams did not accidentally screw over their teammate in the demo game. But in the first game, both of them actually were calling out cards. You can see how misinformation can really harm society in general. But also in this game, that was a little bit of a pitch there. But here's the thing: is that it's always really tough, especially when you're in a hot seat, right? You want to suss out that too, but you accidentally might do it to the detriment of your teammate if you haven't been able to describe that yet. So, unfortunate, couple of rows there, but at the end of the day, Goose and Johnny Go were able to push it out. You'll see Goose is going to be really aggressive on the King's Hand and selective about the King's Hand. It's actually really fun in 4-player to watch him do so, because he likes to use it on almost everything that he doesn't want to mess with him, not just saving it exclusively for the assassin. So in this case, we have both opponents had cards, or opponent has cards in their hand, aka Tater, Yeti. So therefore, they get 1 extra point. So it's 1 point for winning, 1 point because there was a successor or cards in the opponent's hand. And if they happen to have one of their kings not flipped, they would have gotten that 3rd bonus point, but they're only going to get 2 this round. So I think we're ready to go for next. Any thoughts, Dan?
Well, I just learned, courtesy of a couple of the folks watching on the stream, that apparently the Zydeco music that plays in the background of Tabletop Simulator was playing through that first hand. So for those of you who love Zydeco, you're welcome. And
Huge fan.
in the meantime, fascinating set of things there. Again, there's a lot to keep track of in the 2v2 game. No one has perfect information, including of your own teammate's hand. So there's a little bit of winging it that happens, and you see the outcome of what happens when you wing it and you wing it wrong in that first hand. So 2 points to the team Johnny Go and Goose. We had into our second hand, and the true king is now in the hand of the first hand's loser. That would be, in this case, Yeti, who leads off. And so we shall begin again with some exciting and interesting hands.
Yep. And special thanks to Yeti again for making this tabletop simulator. It's not Yeti, Platypus for making this tabletop simulator mod. It's fantastic, and it helps you just redeal your hands real fast. It obviously can't tell who who lost last round. Can't read minds just yet, but based on his programming skills to make this reality in the first place, I'm not sure if he can. I'm pretty sure he could actually just make it mind read. So here we go. Second hand. Everyone's got a couple of variety of different cards. Let's see what they decide to share. Looks like Johnny Go immediately sharing one of his fools, the Executioner and the Warlord. Dr. Wayne's going to show the Zealot, Inquisitor, Judge, just standard smaller cards. Oathbound, Elder, Herald, so nothing too exciting there. Maybe I'm surprised they show the Herald when they have the Assassin, because it's a really good combo, those two cards. And then finally the Warden, Sentry, and Oathbound for Goose. So it looks like now he's showing his Assassin. Yeti's going to show his Assassin. Looks like both players are going to show off their Assassin here.
Interesting move there from Goose. Usually, at least you tend to put weaker cards out on display, but there he actually put some of the stronger cards in his hand out in public view. What do you think is the thinking there?
Goose is trying to let him take an Oathbound, so that's probably one reason, just because he realizes if his teammate has a Fool, that's great. I think Goose is also trying to signal, hey, I have these high cards, but it might send the false signal of, hey, I have these high cards and the rest, like, this is my hand, or you could be saying, it just depends on the partner. Some people put out high cards to say, hey, these are the only high cards I have. Other players play it as like I have a really good hand. So it looks like Yeti decided to let Johnny go first, and it's going to go clockwise again, thankfully, because otherwise my brain might explode. And yeah, I mean, I think there's a difference between Dr. Wayne and Yeti versus Johnny Go and Goose. They seem to be holding their high level cards tight to their hand there. It looks like Johnny Go is just going to take that. So that's indicating, hey, I want your 7. So he's just going to take, probably for the value. I can't see anyone really using the Warden. Again, if you have 4 or more face-up cards, you can exchange it with any cards with the Q's card, which would be the Elder in this case. So I can't imagine using that to great effect. Looks like Dr. Wayne's taking the Oathbound there, good survivability card. He's going to take one of the Fools, probably because of the 6-1. He knows his teammate didn't take the 6, so he's going to probably take the Fool for the 6-1 combo. And it looks like he grabbed the Judge. Yeti grabbed the Judge here. So, interesting hand. So Yeti's got like an ideal hand going here. He's got like all of the favorite hits. I'm surprised he didn't choose to go first, honestly, because he's got the Judge and Inquisitor. Seeing that he was going to take the Judge from his teammate. But now he's given momentum over to Johnny Go. Johnny Go is, because Goose didn't put out any 4s, Johnny Go doesn't have like a super strong, never mind, he's got his Executioner there. He's also got a Soldier if he wants to start with that. That's one of the things that you might want to trade for. If you're going first, you want to make sure you get one of those starter cards. I personally love the Inquisitor or the Judge. The Judge is super powerful in this game mode, especially since you can see, there's a lot less cards, so you can kind of, it's harder to guess, but you get one free round essentially.
Right, free round, very powerful, especially because it lets your teammate play with more information again about what you're going to do. And so, again, it gives them a solid platform to make a strong play against the other players without worrying about harming your next play.
So here's something that's interesting. So we've got a Queen for Yeti, now showing that to his teammate on the successor card, because you can see your opponent's, or your teammate's successor, not your opponent's, that'd be crazy. So he's got a Queen, so he's showing that off to Dr. Wayne now. Dr. Wayne's showing a Zealot. Both of them know that they have the Assassin. So they both have the Assassin in the hand, and actually Johnny Go can just execute that at the beginning of the game. So I'm not surprised if they start throwing away the Assassin even at this case, or maybe trade it so one person has 2.
That's right. They worked very hard in the first game to get rid of Assassins, both teams. It makes it think that maybe it's...
Uh-oh. Johnny Go, don't get rid of that.
That's an interesting move.
Uh-oh. you need that.
Yeah, that would be curious play to do that. But yeah, they were so intent on getting rid of the Assassin for the first time and failed still. The game ended in assassination. It makes you wonder if it's worth chucking it early for a false flag operation.
Looks they traded a Mystic for. So Goose is trying to give out good cards. I don't know. His hand's not that great, so I wonder why he's so charitable and showing off the big cards. So now he throws away the Executioner. This is difficult, right? So now they have two assassins on both sides. That actually gets through a king's hand, by the way, because each player has an opportunity to react to a king flip. So one person can assassinate, that can get king's hand, but then the other assassination could still happen. So this is really dangerous, actually. They need a way to get rid of that assassin.
That's right. Well, we've got the
It
Executioner
actually is, like, physically
and the Mystic, both of which are very potent assassin counters.
I don't know about you guys, but
So I would have loved
I
to
had
see
no
actually
trouble
from Johnny
deciding.
Go as an Executioner.
I-
King's hand, they King's hand that Executioner, and then Goose
okay,
immediately
okay.
executes again for
you
the
alright?
assassin. That would have been the ideal play. But obviously we have
Okay, I'm
God
leading
mode
off with
vision.
A soldier.
He's starting with the
I'm
soldier
going
here.
to say Oathbound.
And then-
you,
I was just gonna say, I believe in answering, we go in order, right?
Yes.
okay, so then I do have enough.
So, guess for the Oathbound. That's a safe guess. Just trying to drive up the soldier to a 7. Put number pressure right away.
7.
7 now.
And prevent
That's
the
actually
play of the
really
judge.
bad.
Yeah.
Reno, I'm gonna flip on that.
And there's the
All
flip.
right, that's a quick flip.
Certainly indicates to both Johnny Go and Dr. Goose that there are no assassins, or I
Did you
should
love
say
Dr.
to his
Goose?
teammate. Sorry, Dr. Goose.
I love Dr. Goose. That's good.
An executioner.
Here we go.
And I'm gonna say 2s.
Okay, there we go. No king's hand. They just get rid of their assassins.
Yo.
Oh
And
my
they dump
gosh.
him. Yeah. Well, again, it was telegraphed with the king flip that Goose didn't have to worry about Johnny Go having one, so he figured let's just swing for the
Okay.
fences, and he connected.
He did, yeah. I wonder if Dr. Ween should have king's handed that. At least put on some pressure.
I'm just gonna play a cash 7.
Ooh, casual 7s.
Like it. And then this goes away.
Well, he could.
Yes,
Again,
that's-
don't have to worry about assassins now.
He played a 7 on his teammate, but the reason is because he only has 7 high cards. He could have used its ability to at least help his teammate out there because of the condemned cards Johnny Go's playing on his teammate.
Oh, that's right. Yep. So yeah, it's just difficult because Goose does not have a particularly strong numerical hand, although he indicated that he did have one by what he put up face up at the beginning.
So we got a casual 8 going in there, I think. So
And
the
I
spy,
will
if
flip
he
on
wanted
this
to,
one.
he could have disgraced that in order to see people's successor cards and force one player to swap their successor. But seeing as he and Goose are the only people who have successors
So
left, it's
then
not that valuable. Forcing Johnny Go to flip his king.
I will play judge.
I think Goose is going to try to go for a 3-point hand here,
Ask.
as he should.
All right, I'm going to ask Goose if you have the princess.
Swing and a miss.
Ooh, interesting. And that's a big miss because right now
Yeah.
Johnny Go playing before Dr. Ween has all the numbers in his
Yep.
hand right now.
Yeah, he's got the power, and they really should go for a 3-point hand here, which means that Goose needs to keep his king face up. He's gotta. This is an opportunity for them. They really need to take advantage of it. Also,
Play soldier.
I think there's so much more nerves going on when you're on live game like this. There's a couple of things that I've noticed that all players are doing right now that they during the demo game they felt confident and they talked through about why they did
Either
the thing.
you have the queen.
No.
Looking for
No.
the queen. There's nothing there. So this is just immensely tough for Dr. Ween right now, especially with Johnny Go having, as you mentioned, a battering ram.
Judge.
Here's another judge. He can ask Johnny Go if he has the princess.
Johnny, do you have a king's hand?
Ah,
I do.
And he
asks
does.
for more information. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so he decides to go with the Inquisitor.
So here comes the king's hand. There's an 8. Dr. Ween going.
He's got
Two
a lot
options.
of survivability. He's got Zealot, he's got Oathbound, and he's got the
I
King's
will
hand he can play now.
a seven.
So there's the Zealot setting up.
This sucks. This sucks for Goose. He really wanted him to play a high card in order to
Flip.
do the 6-1 combo. And this is where it's not, you can't play optimally because you don't know what your teammate has, and this is really difficult. It's much harder for players than we're giving them credit for.
Noah, do you have the princess?
Noah's
it's,
goose.
It's everyone. It's
Or
other
princess,
players.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
Yeah, it's all
Johnny
players,
Go,
but yeah.
Queen, and me.
Princess.
Okay, so he says princess. Johnny Go has it. He puts it out into
I
the
don't have
chamber.
a princess. Surprise.
So here comes the princess then.
Yep.
So
My turn.
Yep.
yeah,
Your turn.
And he has to decide what he
Go
wants to
ahead
do
and
with
do
it.
Does he want to trade?
Maybe he wants to trade with Yeti.
I will
Maybe.
not trade.
Okay, no trade. If he does trade, he exposes himself to the king's
I
hand, obviously.
will play Oathbound,
Okay.
which will then flip princess. Thank you very much. And I will play Inquisitor. And I think I will leave it at that.
Just
He doesn't
wow.
want to risk it.
Who doesn't want to risk? Yeah.
No, I take it back. I request those with the I don't know the fool.
Oh, you don't want
That's
that.
that. You don't want to do that. Yeah, because the
Correct,
fool
yeah,
gets to
fool.
play when you play it on top of a Inquisitor. That's a disaster.
Yep.
Anyone else?
Yep. I don't think he meant to do that. We'll see what the outcome is.
I will.
With perfect information, I would have loved to play the.
Do you do
The
Sentry
Herald.
or King's Hand here?
Oh,
to
I
pick
always
up?
take the king's hand here.
Pick up this king's hand.
Can I King's Hand?
Yes, you can.
I will do that.
All right, has the King's Hand the Fool's play then.
This-
Dr. Ween now out of cards, which actually
My card goes off to the side.
is not a bad situation to be in because it means Dr.
They
Ween's.
both would have to be out of cards. In order
Oh,
for
the
that to-
scoring is both of you. Oh.
Yeah. So if you look down there, it's
Go ahead.
any opponent still have cards in their hand. So he's gonna flip on that. Gonna do a last ditch effort next turn. We'll see if the Hail Mary works here. It looks like it might.
Because, yeah, Yeti's got the queen, and Johnny Go has no answer for that.
Sure it doesn't. So
Let's play
they
the
can still
warden.
win this.
And I'm going to use his power.
Oh, the warden! No, no.
Wow,
That
the
actually gonna save him.
perfect timing for the warden. That
Okay, I started the round
my
saying
turn
no one's
is,
gonna do that.
The condemned card. I'm good.
Oh my goodness. But he now knows that he has a 3 in his hand. He still has his Happy Herald in his hand, so he's still going to be able to pull this out if he plays correctly.
That's right.
Play Northbound.
Oathbound,
He's
Yeti's
playing
going
the
to.
highest card he has in order
You
to.
have to play the other card with the. Sorry. With the zealot.
Don't know why he did that. Oh, maybe he's trying to dump his hand.
Warden
Yep.
flips, right?
Okay.
So, Goose out of cards now, but
That's the
it's
right one.
not going to help. Yeah, here comes the Herald. Johnny Go is out.
It was a good play to pick up the elder, though.
Yeah, it was the
That
only
was
option I
that was a
had.
real smart play.
Man,
That was close.
that's rough. It
So-
sucks that this was condemned. I'm like, I forgot this was condemned, so I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I'll play Northbound, and hopefully he can't play whatever else he has other than his royalty.
No. My intention was I knew Yeti had the queen, and I figured just getting my head relatively low value cards in hand, but I could condemn a lot of them. So my goal was basically to condemn. It was since both of our assassins got bombed second round. My goal was basically to deny any fool plays with the king's hand, and allow breathing room for Yeti to essentially try to clinch the end of the round with whatever he had.
Yeah, because if I was able to grab this king's hand at some point,
I don't know
then
if
he
I
would
actually would have done anything, to be honest.
I don't know what I would have been able. Did you have
Well, you
anything higher than a 6? Ween?
Uh,
Oh, you had your king's hand. I
I
guess.
had my king's hand, yeah. I had my king's hand. I had my oathbound, which I used to play after, I think, when Princess was
Inquisitor.
forced into play, and the Inquisitor to, I think, was to force out the fool. Yeah.
So interesting players discussing their different strategies here, and yeah, I think there's a lot of interest in the king's handing there. I think one of the smartest things that Dr. Ween did was play smaller cards, so Goose couldn't do the 6-1 combo. So kudos to him on that. But at the end of the day, I think Johnny Go was applying some pressure. It was hard. I mean, he's got Zealot, he's got the 6-1 combo. He's got King's Hand to get through. Like there's a lot that Johnny Go had to get through in order to pierce Dr. Ween's defense there. And at the end of the day, he did a really good job by picking up that Elder, really smart idea, but unfortunately, Yeti still had that Herald still on his hand.
That's right.
So yep, that's gonna be since Johnny Go still had cards in his hand when he lost. That's gonna be a 2-point hand to Dr. Ween and Yeti. So we're at 2-2. And yeah, looks like the teams are starting to get some synergy together. So that's really exciting to see.
That's right.
Any thoughts, Dan?
Yeah, it was fascinating. Again, at one point, it looked like Dr. Ween was in desperate trouble. Johnny Go had a lot of beef in his hand, could just throw high numbers out there. But what Johnny Go didn't really have an answer for was the Queen. And he had to spend a lot of effort to get through Dr. Ween's defenses, but Dr. Ween did have ample, and it just didn't work out that way. The synergy came through. So that's it for the second hand. We're tied at 2, heading into hand number 3.
Yep, and yeah, I gotta say that that Queen paid off for Yeti, hiding it until the end there. Not like it was really being called out, but it was a really powerful card that didn't have an answer to. Ooh, we got ourselves quite a spicy hand on a couple of people. Dr. Ween having 3, 4, 8, all 4 8s, which is super powerful. 2 King's Hands.
That's right. You got to be careful, and his partner has the Mystic, which is just as important.
And we got double Assassins up top for Johnny Go, and not a great hand for Goose there. This might be where Goose decides maybe this is maybe the time they get to use their mulligan. We'll see.
It'd be tempting, yeah. All those 3s. Now, again, in this game.
And Dr. Ween's not showing any of them really, except for one.
You can sometimes fix your hand, courtesy of your partner, which Goose might try to do here. But you also indicate the weakness of your hand that way sometimes.
Exactly.
He does also have the Princess, which is another avenue to be able to make things better. Yep.
He can't draw about that. So Johnny Go publicly showing an assassin. And one of the tricks I want to mention is any fans of the game may realize that there are 2 versions of each card. So this is the Assassin 1. This is the Assassin 2. They have different art and different flavor text. And this is actually kind of important to know because you can send messages to your teammate by having duplicates of a card. So you can show them one card face down here and then have the other one as your successor. An astute partner of yours would be able to pick up, hey, you have both of them by just seeing that information. So it's the same thing with Dr. Ween. So right now he is showing this King's Hand. He also has this King's Hand, slightly different artwork. So eyes closed, eyes open, different flavor text.
Now, I have to admit, the different flavor text, different art is great. I don't think the partner has to be that astute to realize that they're looking at 2 copies of the Assassin.
Oh, yeah, sure. Not when they're right in front of their hands. But I was saying that in the training process, if Johnny Go decided not to do that, he could have put one as a successor, and then Goose would be able to see, hey, that's a different one than the one that he has in his hand.
That's right. If he were to play, let's say, show the one King's Hand and then play the other, someone could look at the art of the card and say, oh, that's a different art one from the one I saw earlier. That's not the one that was shown earlier. They have 2.
They just have to believe in the art of the cards.
That's right, the art of the cards.
That's all I'm going to get for that one. That's a beautiful pun, Dan.
I know. Well, for the folks who are watching, and thanks for all who are joining from the Rocket League tournament that just wrapped up. We just got rated, so we've got about 18,752 people on the stream. There's uproarious laughter throughout most of the awake time zones at the moment.
Okay,
hopefully you won't confirm that statement I just made.
Great. All right, so it looks like Johnny Go. So they did trade. So he did take the assassin, by the way, Goose. So now there's an assassin across the board for each player. I think it's smart that they distributed their King's Hands as well. Looks like Dr. Ween is putting his other King's Hand down to again indicate. They already knew that he had both. So they've distributed the wealth to say. Both players decided to put their King's Hand down, which is kind of funny. Johnny Go and Goose decided not to put their assassin down. They just put a zealot. So this is a spicy game indeed. Looks like Goose is going first and it's going to go counterclockwise this time.
Now,
if they keep the number high here, Goose and Johnny Go, they can maybe induce a flip. There is one saving grace that they have. Dr. Ween has both the Herald and the Spy, both of which are good at being able to get your successor in a pinch.
That's right. Just because you and your teammate have the assassins doesn't mean that your team doesn't have to worry about getting assassinated, because there are a lot of card trading opportunities that can put you in a bind. Another thing that's interesting is notice that the Fool is the face-up burn card, which makes a potential Warden play fascinating, to be able to get a Fool into your hand at the right time, a propitious time.
Yep, good.
One thing that's interesting is, and Django and Goose won't have to worry about this because they have both of the executioners, but there is an advantage to having both of the same card in your hand, even if it's an assassin. Because even though you can't assassinate someone twice, it does provide some executioner proofing, because you only have to put one of them down when the executioner gets called.
Yep, and or even the Inquisitor. So what the other thing is that he decided, Yeti decided to throw away his judge in lieu of. Oh, I need to unmute. In lieu of the soldier. That's kind of interesting.
I'm gonna say the queen.
Oh, knows that Yeti loves the queen. He didn't hide it this time. Got some info.
So brings the queen out right away.
He's pissed off. You can tell that he's annoyed with his brother. He's
Fascinating.
This is where you inquisit out the assassin. You have an opportunity now to inquisit the assassin. You could also just judge it.
I'm going to play the judge.
He judges
I'm going
instead.
to ask Goose if you have the assassin in your hand.
I do.
That also works.
All right, one assassin found.
I will play Inquisitor.
Another Inquisitor, which means
So next turn you'll be playing the Inquisitor no matter what.
Not. Thank you very much.
So now what's tough is that Goose does not have a great hand for even playing on that 5.
Play soldier.
He's got that princess.
I'm going to ask.
Would have been nice if you got that warden.
If any of my opponents have the princess.
In order, or because no, at least on mine.
Which is not in order. So this is opponent. So luckily he's not going to get the info that he's not going to force his teammate to reveal that info. Oh, there you go. He now plays his
There it
queen.
is. There's the queen.
This is fine. Looks like Goose can probably just play his Elder here. Get that out of the way. Now Dr. Ween has to play his Inquisitor.
I will play the Inquisitor. And ask those with the card name Assassin to please show me the goods.
All right. So
All right.
they are both gonna
Nothing they
show
can
it.
do about it.
So weird in this game.
So it.
Okay. So now Yeti's gonna play on his
Sorry.
teammate. What he should do is he should play his Mystic and use its ability, or do something to make it easy for his teammate.
Well, Yeti's not going to play on his teammate because he's going to have an assassin
Oh,
to
never mind.
play
Yeah,
on.
you're right. Sorry, it's not executed. You're right, or condemned.
Does anybody have?
He basically has a free play here, and
I do
not knowing that his teammate threw away the other fool, he is going to. So Dr. Ween threw away his other fool. Goose's turn. He has to play his assassin.
Alright. With that, I'm going to play the
Now is he gonna
sentry,
pick up an
going
assassin?
to disgrace it.
Oh
and I'm going to
yes, he
protect it.
is.
Oh boy, there you go. Again, so many opportunities for card trading.
He has to exchange something.
Oh, sorry. I have to play. Which card am I?
Suspect he's going to want his Herald to throw here.
I didn't think that one through fully. to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, Harold probably, unless he wanted to hide his assassin.
Yeah, I'm
But
just gonna dump.
Okay. Happy Harold's gone.
Happy Harold.
Everyone loves Happy Harold. Named, of course, after one of my childhood
Alrighty.
friends' dad, who's
And
also
I'm
named as
going to
Harold.
Play a warlord.
That is a 9.
Big 9, yep, with the queen in the stack.
Let me tick some boxes real quick.
So the Warlord becomes a 9 if there's royalty in the court. It becomes an 8 in your hand and a 9 once played. So royalty, queen is there. We got ourselves a Warlord. This is a powerful card for Tater to try to take.
I'll go ahead and
But Yeti doesn't have to worry about.
Not happy with it, he just said.
Doesn't have to be worry about his king flip. I think they're trying for a 3-point hand.
Yep.
fours.
Oh, he kills off the number 4 is trying to prevent anyone from taking away that assassin from Dr. Ween's hand.
So thinking about the executioner specifically, because both of the inquisitors are gone at this point.
Yep. And where are the executioners? Do a quick little scan here. It looks like both Goose and Johnny Go have ridded themselves of the executioner. Not thinking they would need it, but they need it.
And I would like to swap with Dr. Ween.
So Dr. Ween is probably going to want to chuck his spy here.
Spy, absolutely.
Yeah.
So a good card for Goose might prevent a king flip one more turn.
Turn I'd like to flip.
There is the king flip.
Okay.
Can be done with
And
impunity.
Yeti just wants to keep his king face up to get those 3 points. Really can shift the
will
momentum. A
play
5 hand of having 5 points is way more powerful than having 4 points.
That's right.
So just a casual elder there.
Yep.
Go ahead and play.
Yeti not much to do besides flick the
Warden
warden out.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's probably going to have to flip unless Dr. Ween can play his
Go ahead and play a spy.
king's hand here, which he should, and force out the flip. Obviously, we know what Johnny Go has in his hand. Do it.
Yep.
Oh, he's doing it.
King's hand. There's the 8.
Oh, and
Jo-
Johnny Go's going to have to flip
Johnny
here.
Go is cooked. No option. And there it is, the 3-point play.
Ah,
Again, just
Got
because
the
Johnny Go and Goose started with the
yeah, look-
assassins
look-
didn't
hear
mean...
Yeti
That,
cheering right now.
we
Oh, I've
both
got the
had
3-pointer.
assassin, Not as our.
Oh, you want to talk about unlucky? We both had our king's hands as our thing
Yeah.
down here, so it's
I was
terrifying.
thinking. Oh, really?
Yeah. Legitimately, we discovered in
Discovered.
the early set of the match that, like, oh no, neither of us revealed the assassin, and both of us put a king hand as successor. So
The-
not. Go
funny.
ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say the only reason I kept the assassin in my hand is because I knew someone was gonna inquisit it, and I had a free turn because my highest value card was a 7. I was so
Ooh.
terrified this whole
Fair,
game.
actually.
I was terrified.
But I had solace in the fact that I had both spy and
Recognized
Herald in my
that he
hand.
could have done that.
So my initial game plan was to use Herald and Spy to essentially force. What I was worried about is you were going to pull. One of you was going to pull King's Hand, or this not King's Hand. Oh goodness. We're going to attempt to pull King's Hand from our hand, and we didn't have it. After that, I was going to force swap or exchange the successors from our successor spot to our hand to guarantee that we had King's Hand in hand to fix Assassin. But then when Assassins were gone, it was like, okay, now it's
Yeah. Okay.
Straightforward.
We're good.
Yeah.
Mulligan is very difficult to decide when to use.
Yeah, I debated it to start because I started with both assassins, the warden, the warlord, the soldier, the zealot, and the executioner.
Funny that
I had
Johnny Go was
specifically
thinking about it.
answers to anything.
I had
As
Yeah.
one
he-
princess,
I
and
thought
the
it was
rest of my
Goose.
hand was blue.
Yeah, Goose had that blue hand, which makes you blue when you have
I
it.
can't believe we drug that game out as long as we did to be.
Dang, Dan, you've got all sorts of, fun little puns there. That's great.
Yeah, I appreciate that you're giving me more hype for my pun than I did for yours.
Dude, mine was bomb, okay? Any Yu-Gi-Oh references, any Yu-Gi-Oh enjoyers in the chat, make sure you spam an emote. I'm not watching the chat, but if I was, I would be appreciating. Dan, let me know if someone emotes.
I did see an emote. I'm not sure if Russian Ally was emoting for your pun or not. I didn't watch Yu-Gi-Oh, so that missed me. It's the heart of the cards, though, right?
Are you
It's the home-
serious, Dan?
Yeah, I wasn't a Yu-Gi-Oh guy. I was more of a
All right, you know
Digimon
what?
kind of guy.
This is the Exodia, the Oathbound's the Exodia of the game. All right, deep cuts. Let's go ahead and get into our potentially final match. I
Yes.
mean, now that they've got 3 points because their king was face up,
5-2.
you're looking at
yeah.
5-2. So they just need a 2-pointer to win. Johnny Go gets to be the true king because he was the one who got assassinated.
So now Dr. Ween leading off, that's not a very strong hand, I would say, for Dr. Ween. So he's definitely looking at that thinking, can my partner fix it? And with what Yeti has, Yeti might be able to if he knows that Dr. Ween is in trouble. So the face-up cards here is going to be a very important phase for how this kicks off.
For sure. And yes, so we've got quite a arrangement here. I think all the teams have pretty good hands. It's just up to how well they can convey what their strategy is going to be. For example, Yeti, if doesn't have the assassin, or sorry, the fool, maybe he can show off that oathbound, especially if Dr. Ween shows that he has the fool, which it looks like he's going to be. So at this point, there's a couple of things you can do. One of the tricks of this game is that if you have the Inquisitor, you actually can help your partner out by calling out. Oh, neither of them have the Inquisitor. Where's the third Inquisitor? Oh, it's over here. Okay. So yeah, Johnny Go unfortunately has both Inquisitors. He can give one of those Inquisitors if he shows off the Fool to his teammate. Likewise, Yeti can maybe give the Oathbound when he sees that his teammate has a Fool. So actually quite a lot of play and counterplay here from just seeing the initial cards. That's why you place the fourth card after you see the first initial cards, because then you can start strategizing. Hey, this is what I want my partner to see. Also, please give me the card I need. Yeah, so now at this point, Yeti better take that Fool. Or I'm going to be cross, is what I would be as his partner. We'll see. So it looks like we've got an Inquisitor down for Johnny Go, Assassin down for Dr. Ween, Assassin down for Goose, and a King's Hand. So some of those cards that you don't want your team or your enemies to see.
Now it's interesting. The clockwise versus counterclockwise is going to be very important. I'm not sure if they're aware of that because Dr. Ween has 2 elders, but Johnny Go has no royalty. So if they choose to go clockwise, that's going to be a real difficult situation for Dr. Ween with basically 2 useless cards.
And they did. So yeah, that's less than ideal. So Yeti now has a choice to either take the Fool or take the Elder. He hates Elders. He's not going to take the Elder. He never does. Looks like Johnny goes like, I want your Assassin. Took his teammate's Assassin. That's always fun.
All right, yeah, the trading phase is very important. Again,
what is he going to take? Maybe just the Warlord just for the damage?
Yeah, I mean, Dr. Ween needs some numbers. Yeah, so he needs some just numerical strength, so I'm not surprised by that.
He didn't take his teammates. That's nice. Maybe he's still thinking he can get his Elder off and then some Warlord action, but as I said, Yeti's either going to have to take the Elder or the Fool. He's not going to take the Elder. He hates the Elder.
Although Dr. Ween actually, if he could get it down, the judge would be very powerful again when you have a hand that's really just trying to survive.
Buns is the word I believe the kids use. He goes for the Fool. Okay, so I told you he's not going to pick the Elder. That's like Johnny Go hates the Fool, Yeti hates the Elder, Goose loves the Princess. Player tendency is actually very important in this game. All right, so it looks like Johnny Go is collecting himself. After the trade, we're looking at the hands here. I think everyone did a pretty good job. We got a 6-1 combo for Yeti. We've got the we got some mitigation for Dr. Ween to not have such a blue hand. He's keeping the Elders. I guess they didn't really see any of the royalty kind of come out. Looks like Goose is just opting to hide his royalty. Dr. Ween hiding his Assassin. Yeti needs to pick up this card.
Subtle signal provided to our combatants there at Imposter King Stadium.
The judge's nudge, they call it. And then Johnny Go is opting to hide his Assassin as well. So royalty and Assassins seem to be the prevalent strategy right now. So Princess, yeah, literally Princess Assassin, Queen Assassin. So royalty Assassin. We'll see if the meta ever evolves or whether this is the prevalent strategy. I always love seeing how different people reveal different cards here.
That's right.
So now they're deciding whether they want to trade.
Again, the trade phase, you know those 4 cards. Your opponent of Johnny Go lays one down, and Goose knows exactly what he wants to exchange for it.
That's a good one. Goose is giving him the Herald for the Assassin, which is great. We haven't seen much of the Herald play today. Some players love it, some players hate it. Some players think it's the worst designed card in the game. It doesn't hurt my feelings. I'm a grown man. But,
one of them has to be the worst designed card in the game, Cena. So there you go.
That's true. There always has to be one. And ideally, you want to always exchange 2 cards if you can to give more info to your teammate. But sometimes, you have a strategy, you have a plan. For example, Johnny Go probably doesn't want to trade any of his cards at this point. So throwing away cards, we've got the... All right. That was the Herald, by the way, if you didn't want to hear my my sigh there. Zealot, Herald,
So-
Elder, Executioner thrown away.
Do you think when this game is over, Goose will feel offended that Johnny Go chucked immediately out the
I'm
Herald?
pretty sure
that,
he will.
Yeah.
He sure will. There's a little bit of a I'm sorry, but I'm sorry for saying this, but I'm going to execute your card. Like, you know. So here we go. We got the Inquisitor coming out first.
Going to say the number 2.
It's not how that works, but
That's,
there
yeah,
you
that's,
go.
that's for everyone, right?
Correct.
all other players with a
Nice.
card.
So, of course, no assassins in hands right now.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, no. So everybody except for Johnny.
Yeah. So
That's
far,
right.
they're
And,
not-
and Johnny, of course, his assassin, he knows he has one assassin. He's trying to root the other one out.
Okay.
The no veil.
So it's my turn.
So now it's Dr. Wayne. He can play his powerful judge here.
Very good. I will play judge. And I will ask Johnny if you have assassin.
I do not.
Okay.
So now everyone knows that the assassin is not in players' hands right now, as we speak.
That's right. So that means for safe king flip right now.
So we're gonna do a soldier.
I'm going to ask if either of you have the king's hand.
No.
Oh, you said Joe. Just answer. If you did, I go first.
Yeah. Sorry.
Does that matter?
But anyway, yes, Yeti has one and Dr. Ween does not. All right. So a little bit of information there. Disgraced cards there now
Sorry,
for
was
Johnny
that-
Go to
did you
use
say
his
you have a
Mystic.
King's hand or no?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sorry. I was drinking
no
water
worries.
when you asked the question.
Just go for it.
King flip. And then he's just going for it, as he says.
There it
Big
is.
8 energy.
Straight 8.
Laying the 8 out.
Sorry, 1 second.
Okay.
Now, this is an opportunity for Dr.
Uh,
Ween to potentially use his sentry to pick that up and trade it for a more useless card. May not know that the 3 is
Yeah, let's
useless.
just leave it as an 8.
Okay. I'm going to king flip.
Safe
Ah,
king flip.
It's a good
decides
time
to
for
do
the
it.
king flip there, yep.
Not a bad idea.
Pretty cool play right here.
So at this point now, there's 2 unflipped kings, and they're both on the other team. So Johnny Go has a useless assassin at this point. Dr. Ween's assassin could be a saving grace here.
I'm going to call out the assassin.
One moment.
Looks like Yeti's deciding whether he wants the king's hand that call out.
Waiting. No.
Yes, waiting. I'm gonna King's Hand now.
Okie dokie.
All right, so that condemns that card. No assassins have been revealed. Looks like that gets executed, so that skips Yeti's turn, and now it's Johnny Go's turn on a 0.
Play the Mystic. I'm going to disgrace it and say the number 2.
Okay, so he kills off the number 2.
Uh,
Anyways,
I'm going to play this
So-
casual 3.
Now with 3, the assassin's value on pile boosted. Always a delight to use that opportunity.
so the Mystic, you choose a number, they lose their card text, but they have a value of 3 after being played. So now the assassin is useless, but it gives you at least 3. Warden, he does not have enough cards that are face up, so Warden is just a casual 7. If you had 4 face up cards in the court, you can exchange a card with the accused card here.
So if I'm Dr. Ween right now, the only way out of this jam, I mean, he's got good survivability, but you've got to
As always.
yeah, you've got to feel like sentry play is going to be the way to salvation here.
And I don't think I want to use an ability.
No ability used, got the 6-1 combo, but decides to just king flip on it.
No print.
Now Johnny Go's in a not especially great situation. He's got the 6-1 combo, which will be again the thing that will, I think, determine
Right.
the state of his hand.
And just to be clear, the 6-1 combos, Oathbound can be played on any higher value card, but then you have to play another card. The Fool lets you pick up any card from the court. So
going
it's a
to
combo
play
because you can play this on any card,
Yeah, just kidding, Warlord.
and then immediately play the
I
Fool.
misspelled it.
Warden.
Okay. Warlord's out. She's
Play
just
Warden.
casual 7. Warden is a 7.
And I'm gonna use its ability.
He is going to use its ability. Wow, Goose is out of control
He
right
chucked
now. What is he?
a king's hand for the executioner. What do you think he wants to execute?
Okay.
Maybe 3s?
I think.
That's a big play. I mean, you're throwing away an 8 for a 4. This is classic Goose.
Yeah, it's
He's,
an unconventional play. Well, he knows
further-
he's got a safe
further
king flip, he
diagonal.
knows. So he's got, one countermeasure for big card. I'm just curious what he's going after.
I think if he knows if he nails like Zealot maybe, then he can win. But I don't know why. I mean, maybe it's the queen aspect of it. The issue is that Dr. Wayne has actually padding because he has 2 3s. So if he throws away the right 3, then
I'm going to go ahead and
okay, we got the 6
Oathbound and
1
Fool
combo.
into Oathbound.
There it is. All
And then
right.
he picks up his own Oathbound. So he plays the Oathbound into Fool. Fool lets you pick up any
Get
card.
rid of this super useful too.
So Johnny Go does get a chance to discard his assassin, which is a 3 now.
Yep.
And if you're Dr.
much have
Ween,
Hand it isn't too.
anything is open. Do you maybe...
Interesting. He could have just played a Fool himself and picked up something else, but I guess he's just not happy with the pool of cards quite yet. And
So-
he's still got the 6-1 combo, I guess. So
A super high risk play would be the sentry back the assassin to see if we can go after Goose here.
well, no, the assassins are.
Oh, right.
are
They're
nullified.
dead. Yeah, they got mysticked.
They
But
burned him alive.
all 3 cards available here.
Can I check the cards that we played?
Now, this is pivotal, right? If he picks, and he doesn't know this, of course, but if he plays one of his 2 3s, that allows Goose to play his executioner.
I mean, yeah,
If he plays the sentry, he's going to force a king flip. And no executioner play. Again, we'll be curious to see what Goose executes should he get the opportunity to do so.
terrorist.
So with that, I think I'm going to play my
There it is.
A casual sentry.
Throws down the big 8.
yeah, it's a straight 8. Yes, sorry.
Goose only has one option.
Flip my king.
And that's
Yep.
the queen, so the big artillery was hiding there, lurking the entire time.
This is a really big play for for Yeti. He has to play the judge and he has to guess correctly. That way, his next turn is.
This is rough.
That's right, that is...
He can battery too. He's got both 5s.
Hmm.
No, do you have an executioner?
I do.
I
I
think
mean,
it's
everyone, but yeah,
yeah.
I know that he has an executioner.
So that's a 7, putting on some
Um,
pressure to Johnny Go.
Funny
enough,
that lets
you have
Johnny
that-
go off the hook. Yeah.
Exactly. He actually does
I'm gonna
not want to
play-
do that.
Oathbound. And then I'm going to play a Fool. I'm going to pick up this Warlord.
So if only, yeah. So now he just realized that if he had not guessed correctly with the soldier, it would have stayed a 5, and the host count wouldn't work.
It does give Dr. Ween the ability to weasel out now. Because the fool
does.
being on top allows him to get rid of that elder. He still has a zealot in his hand.
But he unfortunately has to have a way to allow Tater to play against a queen, which he would have if he played the queen this round, but not this. Not
Play
this
an
time.
executioner.
If he executes 3s, that helps Dr. Wayne.
If
Funny
he-
enough.
But yeah, a successful judge guess could let Yeti play out to the end.
Yeah. We'll see if
I'm
he'll
gonna
go with that.
say
He's got to hit 3 4s or 3 5s or 6s, and all of those are available numbers because Executioner can choose any number equal or less than the highest base card
I'm
in
gonna
value
say
court.
6s.
So he's gonna kill off.
Okay.
That's right.
Yes,
All right.
okay.
Well, there's 1/6 out there. That's Yeti's.
Yep. That's gonna be painful for him. That's gonna be the thing that nails him.
So your card's condemned now, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I'm playing my Warlord.
Yep. There we go. Here comes the queen, and Yeti's stuck with the judge.
I am so sad.
Nothing to do with.
Why you do this?
I got lucky.
Yeah.
So lucky.
Yeah.
If he had said the 3 there, I think they would have gotten away with 1 point.
I had one royalty was with Yeti. I had both elders. I don't remember. Did I show you that I had both elders, Yeti?
I don't think so.
Okay,
Not sure of that.
Because you had assassin down here. I think you had an elder, a zealot, and something else.
Okay, yeah, no. My intent was basically to show that, but I don't think I did it. Anyway.
So now we have a
Dude, I thought
5-4
I queued up
situation.
so hard.
5-4.
Put a
So
6
this
up
could
there.
be either team winning with this next hand. But an intense match there. Again, interesting. The way it played out, it definitely zigged and zagged on the way to the finale
It sure
there.
did. Gosh, I mean, if Goose had just said the wrong thing, or if Yeti decided not to do his soldier play there, he would have had to play casual 6. It could have been a completely different game, and then he would have been stuck with that fool in his hand. And I think they might have been able to win the entire game match if that was the case. But yeah, now we're at a 5-4 situation. This is likely going to be either a 5-6 situation or a winning situation, or potentially even a 3-pointer for Johnny Go and Goose to win. Or we'll go to a game 5. We'll see.
All right, we'll see. We'll also see, of course, both teams still have their mulligans. So if they see
Yep.
something they don't like here, there's a lot of incentive to use it. And here are the hands. And interesting, a lot of beef in Goose's hand, but no royalty. One of the elders is out. Dr. Ween, again, kind of feeling blue here. What do you think, Cena?
I don't know. I mean, yeah. I mean, if I was Yeti, again, they should show the Fool and they should show the Oathbound. Ideally, that's the case. Let's make sure we get the True King over to the right person. I think that it was Yeti who couldn't play right on that Queen, and it looks like the Elder's in the center there. What did you think about the execution play instead of having the King's Hand? Did that actually pan out for Goose?
Well, I think it made at one point went into it too, because I think if he had just played the 8, the King's Hand, that Yeti would have just oathbound into his judge and would have been able to run both his own hand and Dr. Ween's hand out of cards. It would have been a 1-point win.
Huh.
So it did.
It
might have.
it might have been it might have been the thing. Now with the doubled King's Hand again, this is an opportunity for Yeti to give information to Johnny Go, a la different card flavors. No eyes, has eyes. Cool flavor text. Very cool flavor text.
That's right. The
Pat
Kingdom
back
of
on the back.
Nursetti and its denizens.
The lore. All right, we got our cards out. Looks like we'll have them flip it.
All right, here they go. Again, we'll see what signals they've elected to put out for their teammate and their competitors. Here's the mass flip.
Looks like for the most part pretty tame. Goose is still starting with the strategy of just showing the biggest cards he possibly has, which I love. He's still hiding the King's Hand and the Assassin, but now he has to make a decision. Which one does he share with his teammate?
That's
the
it.
King's Hand or the Assassin?
It's interesting. Yeah, he didn't show, either of his King's Hands face up. Up there, he's going to show the Assassin. Dr. Ween showing Yeti and saying, I can survive. I got both of these zealots.
The old Assassin royalty is being shown. Assassin royalty, Assassin fool. Johnny Go's basically saying, I'm going to throw away this fool unless you take away because he hates fools. All right, so this is interesting. So now Yeti gets to choose who goes first, which direction we go into. I've got to say, I'm really liking Goose's hand here. I think he just needs to. This is reminiscent to Dr. Ween's 3-8 hand. He's got a lot of 8s, a lot of 7s, lots of beef, but he's got to be able to play relatively soon, and he's playing into the lower survivability hand. Uh-oh.
You have a question in the direct messages here.
Okay, I didn't even see it. Hold up. All right, they're asking when does the mulligan happen? And now we've got text in there.
All right, so that is a good question, Simbu. When does the mulligan happen?
After the decision of who goes first in which direction. So it looks like we have ourselves a mulligan here because someone's just revealing cards. It looks like, let's see who's mulliganing. It looks like Yeti's team is going to mulligan. Not surprising against the triple 8 hand.
Yeah, no reason not to use it, even if it's just mildly questionable. When you're down this late in the game with a 5-4 score, you might as well use it if you have any reservations.
Yep. All right. So going back now, Goose still gets double royalty and an 8, and the assassin. So lots of information to share with Johnny Go, who has a relatively bluer looking hand. Johnny Go, Johnny on the spot might be tempted to mulligan here too, but I think that it just really depends on what you show. Again, Goose might try to sneak this. Their mulligan has already been used, the Yeti and Dr. Ween. So maybe he doesn't have to intimidate them, but he maybe wants to keep this hand, so he has to at least show his partner some of the goods.
That's right, and
We'll
that's
see.
the thing, right? Is that if you're Johnny Go, you think this is only an okay hand, maybe it's worth mulliganing. Goose has a very strong hand, so you've got to be able to indicate to say, hey, I can fix your hand. I've got enough strength for both of us to want to play it out. So we'll see what he chooses a signal here.
Yeah, and really, I forgot to mention, when you mulligan, you don't confer with your teammate. You just say it. So looks like Goose has decided he does the opposite of what I expect, which is he plays the smaller hands.
Yeah, he even
showing
puts the assassin out there.
So he's hiding a big hand. Hopefully his teammate doesn't mulligan.
Well, this is where player tendencies is a big angle, right? Because we've seen Goose previously show the top cards and of an otherwise weak hand, and this time he decided to go iceberg, cold, low cards hiding big power. But the challenging thing is, if you're Johnny Go, you might see that and think, I might just chuck this whole thing, which would be probably a bad idea in this case, unbeknownst to him.
Yep, I'm going to go ahead and turn on audio for a second here.
Johnny Go to go first. And I think, do I want to maintain tradition for good luck?
What does that mean? He's trying to choose clockwise or counterclockwise.
And that could be important. You wouldn't think it with what's revealed,
Yeah,
but
I want you to play towards Ween.
you're going to roll 2 royalty cards into one of either Dr. Ween or Yeti, depending on what direction you pick.
Yes. So he goes first. So
No mulligan
Johnny goes
called.
first.
So looks like they're playing this one out. Let's see what happens here.
So who do you think has the advantage going into the trading phase here, Cena?
Johnny takes the assassin. He's like, I want that. I don't know. I kind of have to see what happens after the trade here. I still think that Goose and Johnny Go have a pretty strong advantage here, mostly because they have both the King's Hand and an assassin.
The curious thing is, it doesn't really get you much to trade the assassin with your partner. It can be played at any time, the most important part of it. It's really more about your ability to protect it. And I don't know if Johnny Go, I guess because maybe he has the King's Hand, I don't know if he's in a better position to protect the assassin than Goose is.
I mean, sometimes you have the spy. For example, Johnny Go has the spy. Sometimes you have the herald. Goose had the herald. Maybe he has an idea of how he wants to play it, so he wants to hide it, or he didn't have a good successor card, and he's now opening it up so Goose can succeed his Zealot, for example. Like so. So, sometimes things like that will help your partner out. Maybe Johnny Go has an idea behind it. Maybe there's just a nice... Maybe he didn't want anything else. There's also that, too. But it also signals something. Every single time you do something like that, it signals something to your teammate or your opponents.
And that's the bridge-like element of this. You really...
look at this, by the way. Look, so he's throwing up the Herald and the Queen, even though Johnny Go threw away the Herald last time. He's giving him another chance. Looks like Johnny Go only wants to trade 1. So now... he hasn't put his successor down yet. That's why. Goose is jumping the gun.
So
you want to look at your teammate's successor before you decide what you're going to trade.
So, but that is an interesting thing again. This is where the bridge-like elements of this game come in, where, the tendencies of your partner being all of the things that you can read between the lines of what they do are what can make a terrific partnership.
Exactly.
All right, they're thinking hard. Whoop. Don't want to do that.
Okay, soldier successor for Dr. Wayne. That's committed at this point. So Zealot, soldier, it looks like is going to be their pair.
So again, that's one of the things. Sometimes you might
Oh, it goes up
successor a
there.
card. You wouldn't normally successor to tell your partner you have it. That's definitely not what Dr. Ween did there. Dr. Ween was just thinking, I need to have
Right.
all of the cards that are important to me available.
Interestingly enough, throwing a spy down there, that's definitely showing a signal. And now they can trade up the 2 cards. Oh, he's throwing away the assassin. He's giving the assassin back. Maybe this is to mix up their judge plays, but they both have judges, so not going to be effective here. That's going to be unfortunate because now he's got an assassin with no herald. He would have wished to have had that herald.
Yeah, it's fascinating. So Drew Boy on the chat has mentioned, so we keep talking about bridge on here, but right, in the Midwest, the 4-player partner card game is not bridge, it's
Mist?
euchre.
Oh, euchre.
Euchre, yeah. I've never actually played euchre. Have you ever
euchre fans in the chat?
you ever played euchre, Simbu?
I have not, but I've seen people play, and also Johnny Go did throw away the herald, and I'm gonna have a stern talking to with him after this game. So we've literally seen 0 herald play, which is arguably one of the reason why people hate the card is A, it's terribly complicated, and B, it is super powerful. Surprised to see it being thrown away as much as it has. It allows you to basically swap any card from your hand with one in your as your successor. So if someone tries to guess if you have something in your hand, oh, I should probably unmute. The ability to.
They've been hearing you the entire time?
No.
Oh, yeah.
I was saying unmute. Them.
Oh, yeah, for folks. So you're right. That's a good point. A lot of folks not playing the herald.
The princess.
For who?
My opponents. Oh,
No.
and an opponent.
And
Oh,
opponents.
dang. All right, hold on.
Not knowing that
got
his
that wrong.
teammate has obviously
I'm gonna
the
guess
princess.
that Dr. Ween has the princess.
I do not have a princess.
So by hiding that information from his teammate, he might sometimes you have to hide something from even your teammate to throw off the opponents. So now maybe Dr. Ween's questioning whether Yeti has it.
It's interesting. Again,
Judge is such a powerful card at
I'm gonna
5.
play a century straight.
okay, pushing the number.
This is good. You want to push the number against Goose, who has unfortunately a 2 and a 1, which are not really good synergy-wise with each other. Ooh, he was thinking about an early princess play here.
Yeah. Again, this game, the 2v2 game, needs a lot of RAM in your head. There are a lot of cards to track. And so card tracking becomes extremely important.
I'm gonna play princess,
All right.
and I would like to trade cards with Johnny Go.
Oh!
Giving the assassin back. Trading with his
You
teammate.
hold this. You hold this. Maybe
And
Johnny
he
Go can king's hand it if he wanted to.
Sends over his royalty card. They've been, again, it's curious
you know
again.
why? You know why, Dan? Right?
'Cause
Because he assumes that Johnny Go has the herald.
Oh, that's exactly right. It's been curious to see them. Oh no.
That's great.
Sorry.
Cool. And I'm going to pick up a
Johnny Go jumping the gun there. Very excited because he knows both of them have the king's hand. He was like, I got him! But it wasn't a king flip. It was bound into fool play.
I'm gonna play an Inquisitor.
So
I'm going to Inquisit for the 2s. The assassin.
So this is actually interesting. So now, because he has the assassin in his hand, he also can safely play the Inquisitor without inquisiting his his teammate's assassin.
And so that's interesting, right? I mentioned earlier it doesn't matter that much who has the assassin, but that is a case where it matters quite a bit, and he made good use of it.
And this is really great because now that he's got that and he actually hit Dr. Ween with it, he can now play the Inquisitor on top of the
I can play
assassin,
an
keep
Inquisitor.
the good
And I'd
times
like to
rolling.
Inquisit the king's hand.
Oh, that's his teammate. Womp womp.
Again, you don't know everything that's in your teammate's hand. Sometimes you can get some collateral damage, friendly fire going. But it was a smart move because
maybe he really wants Johnny Go to play his king's hand. He's signaling.
they know clearly everyone knows Johnny Go has the assassin, not least because he put it down by accident. So
Execute the twos if he wants.
I'm going to executioner. I'm going to say twos.
and you can't. Can you play the king's hand out of the antechamber,
Yeah,
Cena?
can't
No.
that, I
Sure
guess,
can't.
right? So
But yeah, I mean, Goose could if he wanted to.
So now this has to come out first.
So actually, this might not be too bad for Johnny Go because now
which
he's
makes
got
it
2
my
turns
turn
of not playing.
Yeah, and that 8 is going to come around at not a bad time, just to be a
Yeah,
big
exactly.
8.
It's gonna be a big 8 for sure.
I will play my Mystic, disgrace it, and call for twos.
Ooh, that's waste.
Misplay there.
And
Yep.
there's a
And
fool
Yeti wants to say
opportunity.
something, but he's not saying anything, which is right. So now he can fool. Oh, maybe he thinks that people can take the assassin, but only his teammate can, or the fool. Right now, Goose could fool, but now you can't pick up the assassin. There's like a lot of layers right now that's happening. Maybe Dr. Ween was thinking, hey, I don't want the assassins to come back, especially since we don't have King's Hand. So now he can pick up something.
I think he's going to go for the Inquisitor. Interesting.
Yep.
Could have gone for the assassin.
You know, this is funny because I think it's probably a good idea for Yeti to pick up the Elder from using his the old warden there, jailbreaking. But the issue is that then he'd have to give up another high card, and he knows that Johnny Go's gonna have to play that 8 no matter what. This hand is just out of control.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's kind of hard to keep track of who's in the stronger position. So there it goes, Warden for the, yep, and there goes the, so that's tough, right? He basically traded 2 7s for a 3, but that 3 is what he needed situationally. And out comes King's Hand in the antechamber. King flip from Dr. Ween, which he can do safely. And now here comes the Inquisitor. That
Most important Inquisitor in the game.
And I will inquisit elders.
There it is. All right. Fetched it out.
I love it.
Setting up the queen play. He's got the queen as the hammer, but he needs to force a king flip first.
Yeah. And this is where Dr. Ween has an opportunity
That's me. Oh. Oh, okay.
for an execution.
The enormity of. Oh.
He has a couple of options here, but he needs to stay alive too. He's only got 3 cards left in his hand, and he's already flipped his king. So
Yeah, I've got to think the executioner is the play. Now, what to execute?
what do you execute?
I think you've got to go for. Oh,
Like heralds?
yeah, right.
Very well. I'm going to play.
He can screw his teammate over by playing the soldier, guessing correctly, and then getting rid of all the elders.
And I'm going to ask if any of my opponents, being the one, has the
Queen might be good info.
queen.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah, okay. So now they know Goose has got the queen.
That's my head. That's all right.
So yeah, he can screw his teammate over by getting rid of all those 3s, but he's not going to.
Now, Yeti's not in bad shape because he still has the sentry. He can play on that 8. He still keeps his king flip for Goose's queen.
Yeah, it's interesting that he did the. He's trying to tie it out as long as possible.
Interesting dilemma.
Okay, so he plays the sentry.
Sentry has
Johnny
to
Go
play
has
as
to
an
flip.
8. Johnny Go has no other option. He's got to flip.
okay, I will.
Are you considering Sentry or no?
I
He can't.
He had no cards,
He doesn't
yep.
have a card.
So there's the
Yep.
flip. Okay, Johnny Go draws back into his hand the spy, which he'll have to play as an 8. Now, Dr. Ween in an interesting spot.
Oh
It-
no.
Can't oathbound it in anything, obviously, because he's playing on a disgraced card. So here
You
it
can't play the Oathbound, just be a casual Oathbound.
could be a casual
I
6.
can do this.
He can execute up to an 8 right now, if he wanted to, and that would just get Johnny out of a situation. I mean, playing an 8 is pretty heavy, so actually, if he executes an 8 here, that might.
I'm going to play Executioner. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's equal or less to the highest base value card in the board.
He's
which is
got to do
currently
the
an
8s.
Yep.
So I'm going to say.
Or you could say 6 if he wants to just do his own thing. But he got Johnny Go's
Got,
card.
got 8, because that was it. If he didn't do that, he's guaranteed to lose, because Goose will either king flip. Oh. And there's king flip. Now Yeti's got a king flip. Johnny Go is going to
Gonna
burn
chuck
his
this card
turn.
off to the side somewhere.
Here's the 6.
Straight oath.
And here's the queen. And Yeti is
I
cooked.
cry because I play behind double royalty.
And you hate elders.
You have no idea how many times royalty swapped hands.
Yeah.
Why?
It was
Why?
Zeus and I were
Exactly.
trading the queen back and forth this whole game.
I was like, you have it. And he was like, no, you have it.
Oh my
But
goodness.
yeah, that's right. Double royalty is tough. When you play behind it, you got to have the mechanisms to deal with it.
It's interesting. So this must have been what? This was the other.
That was.
Wait.
So. No. So
Oh.
assassin was condemned, but it was the spy. So I had figured out that the only way I could play my Oathbound was I tossed the other warden, and the other warden was on the board. So I could just guarantee. I could guarantee I get to play my Oathbound if I get rid of the spy.
It's
Which is-
interesting. 'Cause
Yeah.
the other way that I was looking at it, but there wasn't a possibility for it, is if you would manage to wait for me to flip.
And then
Then-
executed that, but that's hard
you
to do.
executioner 3s,
I thought about that,
but there's no way for you to do it.
That's the thing. And, the thing that's really difficult also is just, yeah, I mean, that was a tough situation. Almost got away with 1 point, but we're going to a game 6, 6-5. Winner takes all, I think, in this game, unless there's a mulligan or a 1 point hand. Yeah. Any
There it
thoughts?
is. Yeah, this is a big one. Again, that one went back and forth, as they tend to do in the 2v2 game. I think they're Goose and Johnny Go with all the back and forth of the royalty and the assassin that played out for them.
Ooh.
And they're right on the vestibule victory here, up 6-5.
Look at that hand for Yeti.
And Yeti has gotten...
Yikes.
that is definitely a hand you would want to mulligan, but they can't. They've used it. That is really difficult. But, he's not stuck with it. He can do things with it to try to distribute the wealth. Dr. Ween's got some things that would synergize. Well, actually, no. I would say this is going to be very fascinating indeed. The queen being out helps a lot for them. What do you think, Simbu?
The queen being out is good for them, except for the fact that there's double wardens on Goose's side. And so, unless you keep disgracing the cards in the court, that warden can swap out for a pretty powerful card.
Yeah.
We'll just have to see what happens here. He's got the king's hand. The good news is that both of them have a king's hand, and both of them have the assassin. So in this case, you play gimmicky as heck. You are trying to get them to they're going to try to force number pressure on you, and you're going to try to get them to flip.
Yeah, the problem with
Don't worry about it.
the problem with Yeti's hand on its own is it has no numbers. It also doesn't have much survivability either.
Yeah.
So he needs
But they have controls. They have control of the 4s, and they have control of the king's hand. So this is a deceptively good hand, actually, if they play their cards right.
quite literally if they play their cards right.
Yeah, that was.
It's
I
like
stumbled upon.
that's good.
That's good.
Like that, yeah, okay. All right, so signaling comes. So Dr. Ween plays it close to the vest, doesn't give up much. Now there's Johnny Go. Yeti's shown maybe a plea for help, perhaps.
Throwing double assassins for sure. Yeah, they don't understand how good their hand is. Yeti at this point now should realize it. He sees 2 king's hands. He sees 2 assassins. He should know what's going on. Dr. Ween is a little bit in the dark. Dr. Ween has not shown that he has got good cards in his hand. So this is going to be big, deciding who goes first and which direction they play in, which is going to be up to Yeti, who decides it's going to be Goose playing into Yeti. So he wants his brother coming straight at him.
Interesting. He must. I'm shocked by that. I don't understand
why I
that.
understand what I'm thinking here. He's got both executioner. He sees 2 inquisitors, right? He sees 1 inquisitor in Johnny Go's hand, 1 inquisitor in Dr. Ween's hand. unless Johnny Go and Goose decide to exchange that, he's now got the ability to play stuff without any repercussions of. So Dr. Wayne can disgrace things, can do all sorts of things without the repercussions of an Inquisitor coming afterwards. So I'm thinking that's probably what he's thinking, is that he's got now more time to react to Goose.
That's a fair point. Yeah, that's a very good point. Is it's good for his partner to be
And
able
look at
to.
that. Goose immediately picks up the Inquisitor after that. He wants to go first and get that Inquisitor out. Wait, like, I mean, like, part of it is that maybe he did that on purpose so that way it forces Goose to only take that card.
Yeah, again, we're playing with.
Like, look, you got to think, this is Goose's favorite card is face down, and he chose an Inquisitor. How do you think that makes him feel? It makes him feel like he has to look at it again. Do you see that?
Yeah,
He went
apparently.
longingly looked at it.
And now,
This
that's
is a
Yeti
fascinating final
taking
hand.
a Inquisitor. Again, if I'm Yeti, the thing that I'm just really concerned about is, I don't have to worry about being assassinated, but I don't have much survivability. I don't have numbers. I don't have any oath bounds. I have one zealot.
He's got to dictate the game. He's got to. Right now, he should be studying Goose's hand and just dictating the game. Goose, by the way, not showing the Herald anymore. Kind of annoyed, I think, at this point. It's tossed every round. But there's no assassin to be seen, so.
Yeah, it's just challenging because with Goose playing into him and Goose going first, Goose may never give Yeti the opportunity to dictate the game just by number pressure.
And I wonder why Johnny Go took the Elder here. So he's got 2 Elders and the Princess, and he sees the other Queen there. So maybe he's just trying to help his teammate's hand out there. Don't quite know. All right, immediate successor placed down for Dr. Wayne. That is the King's Hand. He's showing that he's got the King's Hand. Of course. Yeah,
Good hand shuffle there. So we'll see. I mean, it is a pivotal leadoff here for Goose. It would actually, I think, be a mistake to lead off with his Inquisitor. It would be actually, I think, a much stronger play to lead off with something just like one of his Wardens or the Warlord here, just to put pressure on Yeti right away. But of course, he doesn't know that.
And he always has the 6 Oathbound to help him out of a bind to go, Oathbound into Inquisitor as a last-ditch effort. Now, if given the opportunity, Tater should immediately execute 4s potentially. He's going to probably execute something into his hand too, but he could. We'll see what happens. I mean, this is really interesting. I think looks like they're trading Executioner for Mystic.
So that was a good trade. I think that was a smart trade. That it looked like Yeti was going to go in, really putting it all on the line of being able to control the hand. Now he's got a couple of cards to try to wrest control of the hand, which could set him up.
This is a huge judge that was given to him. This judge is going to help him a lot on his first turn if he nails it correctly.
That's right. Judge is a good play.
Fool, Elder. This hand is This hand is nuts. I'm gonna recreate this one. There's so many different ways you can play this one, and it's really hard actually to tell who's gonna win. Like it went back and forth. So
I'm muted. Well,
oh, he can herald into Judge too. I forgot.
I'm gonna start off.
There we go. Finally, someone. So he takes a successor, shuffles his hand, places down a new successor, and then afterwards he's able to pick up that herald.
I'm going to
and play another card, 5 or higher.
Putting down that successor. I assume it's staying, yeah. Because I'm playing Spy on top of this.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah, no.
Well,
no.
It's
Because you can
not-
still play a 5.
So, and then I'm gonna
Oh, yeah.
swap, and then it's going towards Yeti.
Yep.
Oh man. All right. No. That's on you.
So with the
Uh,
with the herald,
second,
you can
well,
then take the herald back into your hand
So
and play a card 5 or higher.
No.
I
No.
guess-
Worry about it. Yeah.
I will ask if Dr. Ween has a spy.
I do have. A
All right, because he just wanted to hit. Okay, there you go.
Turn Inquisitor down.
So the first Herald play, quite the fussy card, the Herald.
Yep. So you get a new successor, then you can take it back into your hand. So it's recursion here. You can take it back into your hand to play a 5 or higher to take it back into your hand. If it's played from your antechamber, though, it is not able to do so, or if you don't have a successor. So it will. Its ability does wean over time. Doctor wean over time. All right, we've got a casual 7 coming out.
So again, that was why I think again that trade was good because Yeti not forced into anything just yet.
Yep.
Oh my god, I'm gonna play a spy? What the heck?
I'm shocked.
And I am going to disgrace it, and I'm going to request well, let's read it
You can
together.
look at everybody.
I can
Yep,
look at
everyone's
everybody's,
gotta
and
study
I
it.
want one of you to swap with the card in your hand.
So you can look at all
If
successors.
you don't mind, I will take a look. You.
He sees an elder. He sees a
Thank
zealot.
you.
He sees his teammate's
Thank
assassin,
you.
and then he's got his own king's hand.
Oh, and thank you, Dr. Weed.
He can.
And you can trade your own successor if you need to. You
may
can kind of
export
use it
one
like a.
player. So one player also includes myself. I think we're good. Thank you very much.
Okay.
No
So
swapping?
that's it.
No swap.
Okay.
So now he's forced to play the Inquisitor. He's got info now, but he can't tell his teammate.
That leaves it to.
I am playing an Inquisitor.
So, big Inquisit
I'm
here.
going to ask if anybody has an Elder.
Wow, nobody has an elder.
No.
Any elder fans here?
No Elders.
Wow. Okay.
No.
So now Yeti does have potentially control of the hand.
Yeah, he sure does. This is really powerful now. He's got two
I think it would
assassins.
be clear if we come to this again and just like say no. So I mean, I'm at the end
No.
of this section. Yeah, no.
So yeah, he can play whatever he wants. He can even start executing 6s if he feels like it. Get rid of that Herald or potentially Oathbound. What is he gonna pull? Oathbound would be a big
Does
pull.
anybody have perhaps a princess?
Goes for the princess. Whoa. All right. So princess comes out. You don't have to worry about elders.
You don't want to trade with somebody.
And
No, I think I'm good.
this
That's
is a
risky trade. He
With
decided
that,
not
I
to.
will do a king's flip. Thank you.
all
It
right.
would have been risky to do a trade just because the king's hands are all
That.
out there and they can cancel that ability.
Yep.
Play a Warden.
Here we go.
Here's the
It
trade.
looks like the Herald did his
Can I
job.
king's hand that?
Oh, King's Hands, the invocation of the
Yeah.
As
Warden.
a general question. Okay, yeah. King's hand.
All right.
As a
Boom.
general question, just toss his king's hand.
Good king's
Okay,
hand, I
so
think.
Yeah, I
back
think
to
so,
business
too.
here.
Yes, yes, sorry.
That's a smart king's hand. That's really good. That's going to prevent the queen from coming out. I think what happened to the other warden? Did it already get played? Did someone toss the warden? He tosses his
Tossed
own warden.
it. Probably
Jeez.
wishes he hadn't done that now.
Eesh. Oh, they have firm
I think
control at
I
this point.
shall
You should hit the 6s, dog.
Yep.
play an executioner.
What does he
And I
know?
think I shall call number 6.
There we go.
There it is. Okay.
Oof.
Things snaking away now.
All right, that's a big hit.
2.
Looks like that executes,
Alright.
that executes,
My-
that
my-
executes,
Blue
and now it's Taterim's.
Okay.
It's Yeti's turn again. His 3 executions equals a replay of his own. He's playing against himself. He put the executioner as the king, and then decided to go against the king himself.
Now, in 8 wins, but he didn't play it.
Yeah, but also he doesn't realize. I mean, they only need 2
Play
points.
cool.
He's playing it cautiously here, maybe too cautiously, giving
Yeah.
that mystic opportunity.
Yeah, that was of course he doesn't know what's in Johnny Go's hand, but if he'd played that King's hand, that's the end of the match. He wins.
It would have been a 3-point win.
Huh.
So yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for 5-6, I would have said that's a misplay because he would have. But he knows that he only needs 1 point to win. Now, if Miss Dr. Weed plays a really high card, that also wins,
Okay.
or wins with the soldier.
I will
But he's gonna
play
do the judge.
Judge.
Ugh, hurts.
Oh man. Oh, they're dancing around it. This is gonna be,
God.
They still have the king's hand to help with the mystic though, so
but it's
it's a
just
little long.
it's
Yeah.
curious why he
coming down the
wanted.
wire.
And I'll ask Johnny if you have Mystic.
No, I don't. No, just kidding.
Okay. Then
Of course,
I
knowing
will,
that Johnny Go picked the Mystic.
Should be the soldier here. Yep. It's conservative, but it's the
Battery.
right move. Yep.
Goose gets his 6 out.
And
Tater
then,
has to play his 8.
which means he's not going to be able. Yep.
Oh no.
No, I think it's going to be all right because Johnny Go's going to have to king flip.
Right now.
No, he. Oh, he does. Okay.
What?
Oh, lucky.
What number? Or you called out 6s with the executioner, right?
Yes.
yeah.
There's 3 6s in the game.
Yeah, but we all tossed a card.
No,
I threw
because
it.
he had one that was already here from.
King's
Oh,
hand.
No.
okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh my god, I was so confused. I was like, how are there still 6s in this game?
So this should be it. Johnny Go has nothing to play on the king's hand. He's going to have to king flip,
Okay.
and that king flip should
Technically,
spell doom.
it should be public, but
So you played Oathbound, Goose. You played
Mhm.
King's Hand, Tater. Okay, well, I have to king flip.
And that's it.
And assassinated.
That is it.
lucky.
Unlucky.
Unlucky indeed.
So you were right, Simbu, as you said at the beginning. If Yeti could get control of the
basically the
hand,
part
that
was
would be
told to you
extremely
guys.
potent, and that's exactly what
So
happened
it's
when,
like,
with
I
that
can't-
missed Inquisitor. It's what teed the whole thing up.
Yeah, I mean that's a rough situation for Goose and Johnny Go, who lost control pretty fast, and then Yeti was able to capitalize on it. You know, that's exactly right. I feel like a lot of people judge their hands quite quickly. Yeti had a pretty tough hand. He got some support from his partner, and at the end of the day, they're able to knock it down. I really like the Mystic grab. Fortunately, he didn't have the Oathbound. For example, if they swapped the soldier Oathbound into Mystic would have done damage, irreparable damage to Tater Aim. So for Yeti. So there you have it. Final score is going to come out to be 7-6 for Yeti and Dr. Wing. Congratulations to them. They are going to be the winners of our showcase match here. And I'm going to go ahead and flip the table here. So 7-6.
As
Kinda
befits
flip.
the end of all 2v2 showcases, it must end with a
That's
table
right.
flip. Well, Cena, that was a heck of a match right there. A great showcase of what the 2v2 game is all about. And two excellent teams that really went toe-to-toe there.
Yep, absolutely. They did a fantastic job. And, you know, it was a tight game. It went back and forth. There was a 3-point hand, which really kind of set the tenor. We had a couple mulligans in there. And then the final hand, we weren't sure if Yeti could pull it out. And with the support of his teammate and some good plays there, they were able to kind of crunch it out there. So speaking of which, we have a couple of them maybe willing to join us here in just a second. Let me just see if I can. Let me see if I can get them on the line while you summarize some of the plays there.
While I go ahead and vamp for a little bit. Well,
Vamp. That's exactly right. Don't tell people that we're vamping.
again, there's a lot of interesting plays that came out of it. You see the texture and the depth of the 2v2 game. Again, it's all the things you really like about the 1v1 game, but with the additional strategies of needing to deal with the imperfect information you have about your teammate's hand. So again, there's a lot in between the lines of what you pass. And the thing is, the hands are a lot more dynamic because there's a lot of trading. There's a lot of cards that can shuffle the gamescape. So even if it looks like you're in a bad spot at the beginning, a bad spot can become a good spot very quickly with a little bit of action on both sides. So
For sure. Yeah, and so I'm going to try to pull them in via Discord. This is going to be something new. We're doing it live. We're going to do it live and see what happens. So give me just 1 second while I get them on the line here, and I'm going to share my Discord. You can see all the fun things that I like to watch, games that I like to play, etc. So Johnny Go, Goose, can you hear us?
Hello. Yeah.
All right. Dan, can you hear them, or do I need to make sure that we're sharing sound? We are.
I think
Can you
we're
hear them?
good. Yeah, Johnny Go, can you just speak for a second?
Johnny Go, can you speak for a second?
Hello.
Ah, yes, they can't hear
Okay.
you though, Dan, because you're not in the Discord.
Oh, that's right. Quiet. They are quiet though, so we'll have to
Oh, yes. Let me go ahead and
give a
boost their
quick
audio.
boost to the audio there.
We're trying to get Dan in here as well. So close games, guys. 6-7 at the end there. How did you guys feel? We'll start with you, Goose. As our resident true
That
king.
was that was it's just a completely different experience from the base game or the 1v1, I guess. Um, because like in 1v1s, like one of my weaknesses was like learning how to mulligan. Um, and now I have like I don't even know how you would figure out whether you want to mulligan or not because that one hand that we lost, I think, did we lose 3 point? I think it was the second hand we lost actually.
Yeah.
I had a princess and like the rest of my hand was blue, but I had no idea what Johnny's hand looked like. You know, he could have had all the high cards and he could have given me half of them, and then it doesn't look nearly as bad. So it's just kind of like where like how do I deal with it?
Yeah, it's tough because you have to decide whether you want to mulligan, and you might be screwing your teammate over. But you know what? One thing that we've pointed out, Goose, is that you tend to show really high cards when you have low cards, and then you show really low cards when you have high cards. Kind of the opposite of what most people do. Is there a reason why you do that, or were you just kind of deciding as you were kind of looking at the hands and evaluating what you wanted to share? What was your strategy in sharing the cards the way that you did?
it it was more of like a hand by hand basis. So for example, I think at some point, uh, I showed Johnny like, oh hey, I have the assassin, and then my face down card was the herald. So I'm trying to show Johnny like, hey, my plan is that I'm gonna bounce this assassin around, right? And then he takes the assassin.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, okay, well, you know what? That's fine. Now, when it comes to the card trade, I'm just gonna give him the herald, and then in the trade, I got the assassin back. So
Did you learn that Johnny Go pretty much throws away the Herald at any opportunity he gets, not
I
biased or
saw.
angry or anything?
I was not aware of that. I did see him throw it away, but I figured that was because he got rid of the assassin. So he's like, "Oh, I have no use for this."
Often I was tossing the Herald because I didn't see how I was going to get to play it.
Yeah. So you were going later in the turn, and you were like, "There's no way I'm going to be able to play the 6." Is that right?
Yeah,
Fair
exactly.
enough. Johnny, how did you feel about the information there, and what was your strategy kind of going into it? How did you adjust as you were playing?
So my strategy for sharing cards was to share cards that I didn't think I would be able to use with whatever strategy, like, or whatever, like, the immediate strategy the hand presented was. So if I had cards I thought I could play with, I wouldn't show those ones. Except for in the cases where like I had two assassins, I was like I should show Goose that I have both of these.
Right.
And then I would often show like if I had the Fool but no Oathbound, I would show the Fool as my face down card, so he could take it if he had his own Oathbound or something if he wanted to. Um,
Sure.
and then yeah, so like that was mostly my strategy for how to share cards. And for trading, I was trying to generally like when I took the assassin and gave it back, is like I didn't want to take any of his cards. I was like, I'll just take one of them and then give him back the assassin so that they think I have it. But
Yeah, no,
clearly
that
was
that happens sometimes. I mean, it's actually really we were thinking, okay, maybe he didn't want anything, but also it's pretty good because judge is a common first play, and if they think you have it and they call you out on the judge, that's a much easier play. Now, I noticed that most people didn't use the judge to call out assassins, but at the same time, you're still just trading that information back and forth, and you know it, and they don't. So it makes sense. There's a lot of complexity here. I think for your first or second or third games, like this is quite admirable to have such a deep level of understanding, and I think you guys were really coming together near the end there to kind of communicate with one another without communicating per se. So
I'd
um,
be interested to see like how a 2v2 meta would like move forward. So like I have an idea of like, well, what if you have one player who's like, you know, a quote unquote support player, where you're more like trying to survive with like zealots and oathbounds or whatever, and like the other person's getting all the high cards, right? Because you only need one person on the other side to lose.
yep, and
So
yeah,
as long as one of you is surviving, the other one can just try and murder the other.
and that's my hunch is that that three cards that you show at the beginning will actually start becoming a signaling game, which is you show these three cards. That means I'm going to be the support player versus you're going to be the assassin.
Hmm.
So All right, great. Well, thank you both so much for participating. It was a lot of fun. You guys got up to 6 points, almost made it over the limit
close.
there, but yeah, better luck next time. And yeah, thank you so much for playing. And yeah, we'll continue to play these 2v2s to get that meta, as you were saying. All right,
Sounds good.
thank you both.
Cool.
Again, to echo what you just mentioned, Simbu, it is amazing how quickly these players have set upon the different strategies, and there are a lot of strategies in the 2v2 game. It's very impressive, but again, they're very, very, very good high-level Imposter Kings players.
Yep, absolutely. And I mean, obviously, Goose is the winner of the tournament. Johnny Go famously beat the crap out of me in the ladder. So both are great players in their own right. Not bitter about Johnny Go beating me at all, of course. Um, really awesome play, actually. And I like what Goose was saying there, which is there's definitely a meta that's forming and different partners. You know, like I found that I've like been drift compatible with certain players versus others. If you will, that's a Pacific Rim reference. Dan, did you
Yeah,
watch
no,
that?
I got it. I got it.
Okay,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
making sure. I mean, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh is kind of a staple. It's so
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh. There's a high drift compatibility between Yu-Gi-Oh and Pacific Rim, I would suspect.
all right. We've
Hello.
got
Hey,
Nolan or Yeti, and we've got Dr. Ween himself.
Yeah, let me just quickly rename myself here. Don't wanna show my university.
We'll
you
cut
know?
it out of the YouTube
Yeah, it's
version.
fine.
You're already
No,
live.
no worries. Yeah, it's also an ocean away, so it's fine.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations to you both. Got there 7-6. It was really close. You started off. Both teams started off kind of firing salvos at their own teammate. Near the end, there was a lot more coordination between the two, and I felt like, there were some plays there that were like you guys were communicating on a different level than us, and so I want to get from your take. We'll start with you, Nolan, or Yeti. What was your experience through the matches there? How did your strategy change?
Um, really, I think from the get-go, it's like it feels like obviously all the cards are very important. Like for example, the Warden at the very end of the game that my brother almost played. Like that made me panic so hard when he went to go pick up a queen. And like that's very impactful. You don't always see that. So it's like that's not necessarily a card that sticks out as like I need to keep an eye on this card. But when you're playing with like what is it, 29 cards? Um you get to this point where you're like, okay, I need to mentally simplify this. I need to kind of like highlight like these really hot cards like Assassin, like King's Hands and stuff like that, and make sure I know where those are, and then we can kind of just feel the rest of the game out. But that also means that you have those instances where, again, Warden comes in and it just blows you out. Fool comes in and it blows you out. So it's really interesting because it's like, I would even say the card list, I wasn't using it that much. I would use it towards the end of a round where it's like, okay, I can maybe narrow it down to what they actually have. But really, like, the game has a nice fluidity to it, and just especially once you kind of get down, like, okay, this is the order we're going in, this is how like somebody plays something, wait a second. Like once you get those things down, it feels very fluid and nice. So
Yeah,
right. I mean, one of
makes
the
sense.
one of the
Oh, God,
interesting
just-
things. Sorry to cut in, Simbu. One of the things we were just talking about in the previous interview was how much it changes how you evaluate how good your hand is at the start of the match. Because one of the things we were talking about in that last hand, which again was an incredibly interesting hand, was right. Your hand actually didn't look that good to start. It looked like there wasn't a lot of survivability. But it turned out once it grabbed control of the board, it really wouldn't relinquish it, and it made for again the kind of victorious crowning at the end. So, a question for both players: how has it changed your evaluation of your hand at the start, or how is it different from the normal 1v1 game?
go ahead first.
Yeah. So I think at least for me, the it's funny enough, it's more important to evaluate your partner's hand than yours, because when I'm essentially looking at my hand, my goal is basically to make sure if I don't have royalty, which is essentially like guaranteed good value or a high number of eights, my goal is essentially to be able to dump my hand and be useful to my partner, right? So, and it really, and usually you can reflect that by showing what's your hidden card and what like you lay out. So oftentimes you can get a really good vibe of like, oh, you're only putting out low cards to show everyone. You probably have some decent heavy hitters back in your hand. If you're showing some higher end cards on the table, right? And it really depends on what you're feeling out, but basically, but as you go out and see what your partner is playing, you have a better idea of how do I want to essentially support them and guarantee. The example we were talking about before for that last hand is Nolan had two assassins, which, right, like two assassins sounds pretty terrible in the sense that, like, sure, like it's two low value cards in hand, you can only assassin once, right? But by doing so, I didn't take it because I figured because I had King's hand, because I had some other tools in my hand, I can essentially try and guarantee that we get to a high value spot where they have to king flip, and he has two ways of doing it. And if it gets king handed by somebody else, then there's successor assassin, right? So
Backup assassin.
Yep.
yeah, exactly, right.
Pocket assassin. Nolan, I have a quick question for you. If you had a mulligan, would you have mulliganed your hand that last round?
I might, because part of the reason also why I chose to go second on that hand is because I had like what 3 4s and 8 2 2s.
We did
right?
find it interesting that he decided to go second there, which
Yeah.
I was saying that if you're now forcing your brother to pick up an Inquisitor to try to get rid of something out of your hand immediately versus Johnny Go having it. But go ahead.
Yeah, so it's like my biggest thing, and maybe it even was a better call to actually go first myself.
Mhm.
I knew that 6s were going to be a hot button thing because
Yep.
I knew, okay, one royalty's down. I got the other royalty out eventually. We wanted to make sure that mystics were out so they didn't have a response to 8s, right? Because we
Yeah.
knew that we had 2 of the 8s, or I knew that we had 2 of the 8s.
Yeah.
Right.
So really, my goal was like, okay, I can't sustain high card play, but I can peak, right? I can kind of like get the final blow like I
Right.
did, but I can't just sit up there at 6s, 7s, and 8s all game long. So I need to go second where the cards are still going to be a little bit lower, and maybe there's resets on the board and stuff like that from Ween flipping for his 8 and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that was kind of my idea. Would I have mulliganed? There's a decent chance. Yeah, because it's a terrifying hand to look down, which is hilarious. But the fact that we had already used it, but also the fact that if I did not know that he had King's hand, I think I would have mulliganed. If
And
I
he
had.
had, yeah, and like, I mean, it was, by the way, just to recount your hand, assassin, zealot, like or executioner, like it was blue. It was the bluest hand I've seen.
But you're right, and you pointed out what it was partner synergy that really made that work, and especially that trade for the Mystic is what gave you enough lasting power to be able to then capitalize on that failed Inquisitor play, where at that point now you had control of the board. You could basically play everyone else's hand from that point on. That's what made it work, that very subtle trade.
Yeah.
I would love to replay that hand, that final hand, multiple times, just because there were so many different directions you could have taken it. You were the true king, Yeti, so you got to choose who goes first, which direction. You got to choose with your partner how you got to play it. And as I mentioned previously multiple times, it was very much like you had like a crazy hand, a trickster hand. And it was the support with your partner, Dr. Ween, that got you over the edge. He showed you his 8s, he showed you his strength, he traded some stuff to help you survive. And so it was really a team effort that really got you over the edge. And unbeknownst to you, Yeti, if you had just played your 8 at one point, you would have gotten 3 points even. And so there was a lot of more power to that hand than that was apparent. We obviously have God mode, so we can see all of the cards. You'll notice that if you guys watch the VOD, I've been like the entire time, I'm like, come on, guys. But obviously, like, it's much easier when you can see everyone's card, including your partners.
Well, especially like, and this is something that I recognized even with just the 1v1 game, but it just exponentially goes out of control almost in 2v2. The really interesting turns in the game are actually like the first couple turns. because that's where the
Yeah.
most possibilities are. That's where the most skill can be expressed, and that's where the most errors can be expressed.
Right.
And yeah, I'll pick up on that because I think I learned very faster than in 1v1. I learned much faster that I shouldn't be digging for cards that if I haven't found them, I should be focusing on other things. Which I think because I did so much, where's assassin, where's assassin, where's assassin in round one, it essentially lost, at least on my end, it lost the round. And because of that, I was like, no, I can't focus on this. I have to just think more broadly about what's happening on the board because because they right your brother held on to the assassins for so long. It was like, all right, clearly this is not the focus I need to be doing. I need to just focus on just us two and getting the cards out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the big things that we noticed in watching the 1v1 game versus the 2v2 game. The 1v1 game is very technical. It's like Greco-Roman wrestling, where you're trying to tease out a few key strategies that unlock the whole game. 2v2 game came more like paintball. You know, you're kind of directionally trying to
These
figure out the
analogies.
shape of the board and where folks are. But yeah, you can't focus on just like one winning, angle. You just kind of have to feel the shape of it and adapt accordingly.
No,
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. Like in the 2v2 game, it's not, or sorry, in the 1v1 game, it's not particularly the way that I play, but I know that there are players where it's like they will basically just mentally go through, okay, next 6 turns. There's
Okay.
no way you can do that in 2v2. It's not possible.
Yeah. No,
There's
no,
too
no,
many
no.
cards, you don't know where they are. Like it's just not possible. So that's where again, I think it comes back to like feel it out and like get an idea of where the hot cards are, right? Like if he
Yeah.
doesn't show me assassin and I don't show him assassin, I'm scared.
Yeah,
Like,
and right, like we were talking earlier about how all of there are so many different cards for 2v2. uh a lot of the fun though comes from flexing the power of some of these cards to try and guarantee that, for example, there was one round where I think we lost, but I had an oathbound in hand and I didn't know what Johnny had, and it ended up he had the successor to spy, and I had, I think, oh, I forget what it was. um I think it was executioner, and I executioned the
Spy.
the spy because I had, at that point, I had figured out that the only way that I can guarantee that I can play my oathbound is to make sure that whatever cards at that higher level I can essentially play around, I wouldn't be able to win against any royalty. So I just had to hope that what he had was in that range. Otherwise, I had enough value in just the straight oathbound to actually play the card, and it ended up working. But then we lost the
Well, yeah, just barely. Yeah.
round.
Well, I want to thank you both. I mean, we could talk about this quite a lot, and that's kind of the beauty of the game. So I'm curious to see how the meta will change as we get more games underway. 2v2 is clearly one of my favorites just because of all the variety that is there. So I really appreciate you both coming out on this Saturday morning / evening and playing with us today. So thank you both, and congratulations on winning. You guys are the inaugural Showcase 2v2 champions. So there you go. Thank you both so much. Appreciate it.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Have a good one.
Congrats again. All
Well,
right,
there you have it.
Simbu, a true treat for the true kings out there today, eh?
Any true king enjoyers?
But
Anyone?
that was a
Alright.
blast. Again, a great
Yeah.
showcase for what the 2v2 game is all about. I gotta say, I love that. As you might recall, back in the beta testing for the game, I was not a great fan of the original 3 and 4 player variants. And when you hit upon this 2v2 variant, it really opened all the doors. It's such a delight to play, and I think we really got a taste of that today.
Yeah, I think one of the challenges is making sure that you have the similar keywords across all game modes, make them kind of look and feel the same. Although it is a different game, it still has, some of the same components, this, combos that you know and love, etc. But the added element of having another human that you have to communicate with tacitly, I think is great. And yeah, I think I was really happy to see, both of those teams. As I mentioned, I practiced with both of them individually. Off the stage, they were a lot more comfortable when the pressure's cranked up a bit. Initially they were hitting their own teammates, but near the end they were communicating with one another and doing some fantastic plays that you can only get at the Imposter King Stadium. So thanks for taking this journey with me again, Dan. Always a pleasure to stream with you. And yeah.
Likewise, Simbu, and likewise for all of you out in the crowd. All of the folks came over from the Rocket League Championship when they raided us earlier today.
The 18,000.
But yes, thank you again for all those of you who tuned in this morning or this afternoon or evening, wherever you might be. I think you got to see a great showcase of this wonderful game in a different variant, and hoping to see you both on the Discord or in all the other forms in which Imposter Kings is played out here in the world over the upcoming weeks. And one quick plug, if you are interested in participating in the next ladder, contact this gentleman right here and on the Discord, and we'll drop in the link to the Discord in the chat here on the Twitch here in just a moment. Seeing I'm counting.
And if you're watching from YouTube, please like and subscribe. You can go to www.theimposterkings.com. That's with an E or an O, actually. I think I have both domains. We'll double check that. But you can go to imposterkings.com. You'll find a link to this, to our YouTube, to our Discord. And as Dan mentioned, we're having our second split of the ladder starting next week. So if you're interested in trying some 1v1, there are some newer players, so if you're brand new, feel free to contact me and we can get you set up. And it's a really rewarding and fun game, so feel free to reach out with any questions. That's theimposterkings.com, where you can find the physical copy, the print and play, the Discord, etc. And you can email me at cena@theimposterkings.com. Thank you so much, Dan. Thanks everyone out there, and we'll catch you next time.
Take care, all the true kings out there. See you later.
All the true kings. See ya.